So we are only a couple of weeks away from WrestleMania 40. That's exciting. I'm going to be there. So if you do see me, come and say hello or just say, you know what you're talking about. It's totally fine. Happens every single day. But it's time to get into fantasy booking people territory. Now, all of a sudden, individuals don't know what's going on. That's because for a long old time, the idea, or the guess, I suppose, was that we would get to the tag team match and the Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes match, and somehow The Rock and Cody would absolutely be in cahoots with each other, and that WrestleMania 40 could end with an image like this, or something that looks like this, with The Rock and Cody being like, oh, I love you too. Isn't it great that we finally screwed Roman Reigns? Now, I'm not saying that we can't do this, and a big part of me, sort of this part right here, believes that is probably what WWE is going to do. But given how aggressive and how nuts The Rock has got over the last few weeks, I just want to point out both his social media promos and the more PG ones he's been doing on SmackDown have been excellent. And I think no matter if this was the plan or not, it was absolutely the way to go with old school heel Rock. I wouldn't do that anymore. I wouldn't have them be friends. I wouldn't have them be buddies. I wouldn't have them be pals. Obviously, The Rock has a crazy film schedule, but he seems like he's having the time of his life. He seems like he's having fun. So while The Rock versus Roman Reigns is absolutely a match that we should be doing, damn it, shouldn't have done that. We should be doing Cody too. Now, this is going to be quite difficult because one of the things that definitely happened on last week's episode of SmackDown is Rock was so entertaining and he was so good when he was doing his Rock concert. He was not really a heel at all. In fact, you call him a super over babyface. So once Cody Rhodes has won the championship, no, I don't believe all this crazy rhetoric where people going like, oh, as soon as he wins the title, no one will like him anymore. That says more about you than it does about anybody else. Quick side quest as well. Other people are now saying, oh, well, when Cody wins a championship, he should definitely turn heel. Look, I'm not saying that it wouldn't bring up some fun conversations, but why do you not want nice things? Why does everybody want doom and gloom all the time? I don't get it. Look, I'm not saying he can't turn heel in the future. I'm saying right now, Cody Rhodes is the most white meat over babyface WWE has had in ages, and you want to flush that down the toilet just so you can get the classic, you people, boo, boo, you fans, you did this to me. I'm sick of that. I don't want to see it anymore. But my point is this. If you do The Rock versus Cody Rhodes post-WrestleMania at SummerSlam, wherever the flub it may be, you do run the risk of Cody getting some boos because, again, The Rock has been so on fire. You can see the crowd turning, although I do want to point out when he does yell at Cody Rhodes, he still does get jeers. But I just think if there is gas in the tank to have Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, the great one, the people's champ, do more than just one or two matches, the third one should absolutely be Cody Rhodes. So if you do think that's in the schedule, I would not have WrestleMania 40 end with The Rock and Cody being on the same page. Now, that doesn't mean The Rock can't screw over Roman Reigns. That's something different, and you have to come up with something new in order to justify that. Because I'm convinced, and I think we should do this, otherwise what the flub are we doing? The Bloodline should win the tag team match, right? I don't know how they do that. Maybe they injure Seth, and that's why he loses his championship to Drew McIntyre the next day. But you want everyone in the Bloodline to be running at Cody Rhodes, so the fans can be like, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing ever. When, of course, the Avengers that he has assembled, they start coming to the ring. So you can have a Sami Zayn, you can have a Kevin Owens, you can have a Seth Rollins, there'll be a bunch of other people as well that I haven't mentioned here. And while originally I kind of thought maybe that's when The Rock goes, ta-da, I'm on the good guy side, and he attacks other people, right? Not Roman Reigns. People shouldn't be attacking Roman Reigns. But you attack Jimmy Uso, you attack Solo Sikoa, and of course Jey Uso will be on the good guy Marvel side as well. And that allows Cody to technically go one-on-one, although there's going to be a bunch of shenanigans, with the Tribal Chief, hits him with the crossroads, probably for like 92 times. Cody loves doing that, and he gets the 1, 2, 3. That way, even though other people have got involved, well, that was just balancing the books with the outside interference, but it was Cody that got the victory. So no matter The Rock's motivations, I don't think he should have been doing that unless you want to do it. I think this would be perfectly fine because it sets up stuff after WrestleMania where, yeah, maybe The Rock gets mad at Roman Reigns, or maybe, I don't know, maybe he does something by accident, because as sad as it sounds, and I get this sounds proper like old school ridiculous WWE booking, so more shame on me, kick me out of the window. If WWE decide that The Rock is accidentally, on purpose, whatever you want to call it, going to trip up Roman Reigns or do whatever, it means the story coming out of WrestleMania to build to The Rock versus Roman Reigns is Roman being like, Rock, what'd you do that for? The Rock's like, well, finally. It's like, man, I didn't mean to do it, but you obviously did mean to do it, and then you kind of plant that seed. It means you don't just have an explosion of the Bloodline angle or the implosion of the Bloodline group. You can actually plant seeds. Now, I do get it. It does take the luster or the shine or the spotlight, whatever you want to call it, off Cody Rhodes winning at WrestleMania, because then he didn't technically win clean. But then he didn't technically lose clean the year before, and nobody ever talked about that. So maybe he can utilize that. And this time, he doesn't have to talk about the fact that happened too. But I think the absolute sort of top priority has to be Cody Rhodes winning in a way that is satisfying for the fans. But we have so many moving pieces now. I don't think you want to draw a line under any of them. So again, if you can stretch out the bloodline stuff and have more stuff with Roman and The Rock, absolutely do it. I want The Rock versus Roman Reigns at one point, of course I do, but that can be happening on SmackDowns even come July if that's what you want to do. And given that The Rock and Cody seem to have this amazing back and forth going on, we've already changed the tide once. Again, I don't think this version of The Rock was ever meant to be the plan. So I would certainly at least be having the conversation when you say to yourself, well, you know, we could do that, and The Rock reveals himself to be a mole within the bloodline. This is what he and Cody planned all the time. Or we can put our creative heads together and come up with a different plan so that if we ever do have the opportunity and The Rock isn't filming a movie, we can do The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. I just think it would be great. And in this short amount of time, they built so much history to a match that I never even thought that I wanted to see. I didn't even think it was going to be on the cards. I thought if Dwayne Johnson ever came back, it would be the Roman Reigns match. We've talked about it. Absolutely the right idea, just maybe the wrong time because people were so invested in what Cody was doing. But now, if we do get out the way, or that's already penciled in for something, so it's somewhat of a lock, if there is room for Cody Rhodes, that's a couple of thumbs up for me. But all I really care about, I've been thinking about this, is tuning into that Raw after WrestleMania and Cody is the champion. I don't care if he wins it. I don't care if he does it with the help with an elephant or a tiger or a fish or a llama. Whatever it is, I don't care. As long as he's got the championship and we've kind of paid off that he did have these people around him that were protecting him, quote unquote, from the bloodline, I think that'd be totally fine. I think that would be totally cool. Because sometimes it's just about, the destination is more important, but sometimes you just want to get to the end of the journey. And that's absolutely where we are with Cody Rhodes. But really good stuff on SmackDown by The Rock. Also really good stuff what Cody did on Raw the week prior that we've also talked about. But I certainly would be thinking about calling an audible right now, although that may never have been the plan to begin with. I don't know what WWE is thinking, but it's shaping up to be pretty damn special. And I don't think any of the other two-night WrestleManias have ever had a story that kind of connects with each other. I'll probably be wrong now, so you have to shout at me and get totally mad. I mean, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn winning the championships off the Usos obviously sort of had a tie-in, but not really. It'd be more of the equivalent if that when Daniel Bryan won at WrestleMania 30, he beats Triple H on night 1, and then come night 2, he goes against Randy Orton and Batista. But yes, really, really good stuff. Very, very excited about WrestleMania and what we are going to do. And The Rock is going away from May to film a movie. He's doing the Mark Kerr thing, the UFC superstar. But it still means he could be on television at least once. And I would imagine he will be on the SmackDown after WrestleMania. So we should do, I mean, to a lesser extent, obviously, but we should do what we did with John Cena. That's when you get The Rock and Roman Reigns to fall out. And then if you want to put a date in, that's fine. Or if you just want to leave it out there where people know it is going to happen, but you're going to have to tune in and see, that's cool. Which also begs the question, what does Roman Reigns do? Does he go away? Does he come back? Does he have another feud? Does he disband the bloodline? Do we get more people in the bloodline to keep it going? I don't know. I don't have the answer, but you could do in the comments. As we are here as well, quick shout out to Grill & Mind, who are now sponsoring the channel. Again, you just go to grillandmind.com and use my code Simon. That gets you 10% off the entire thing. Plus, they're always doing sales. And also, I want to give a quick shout out to ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller. That's where my wrestling merchandise is. On with the show. Otherwise, the only real question that people want to answer right now is what's going to happen with CM Punk at WrestleMania. He is advertised for an upcoming Raw. I suppose you could make him the special guest referee in the Drew McIntyre-Seth Rollins match. I don't think I need that. I just think you want him and Drew to go at it a little bit. And once again, just more pre-planning for the future, because I love WrestleMania, of course. It's the show of shows, it's the granddaddy of them all. But you always have to remember, coming out the other side, you have to have some money in the bank, ironically. Otherwise, if you do shoot your load, and I regret saying that now, it's the first phrase that came to my brain, then you all of a sudden have to start telling news stories. Now, of course, there should be news stories, because it's a brand new season and all of that, but there has to be some holdover. Then when we get to Backlash or start planning for SummerSlam, you haven't thrown everything out. And also, if we do go through all the title matches, at the moment, it kind of feels like we're going to change all of the belts, and we shouldn't do that. But look, Seth Rollins versus Drew. Do I think Drew should win? Yes. Cody versus Roman, we've talked about it. Cody should win. Gunther versus Sami Zayn, a little bit of controversy to that, but once again, I would imagine if you do want to coronate Sami Zayn, now's the time to do it. Bayley versus Io Sky, everyone wants Bayley. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, most people think Becky. Even the tag team titles with the Kabuki Warriors, people are saying, oh, that could change hands. So we have created this hot podge of absolute nutsness. And that's why I really, out of the ones we've just talked about, I think you could hold off Becky Lynch beating Rhea Ripley, because I think if Rhea Ripley wins at WrestleMania 40, it's really going to underline the fact, oh my gosh, we're going all the way with her. And she's already a superstar, but we can double it. And then sure, we can get a few weeks down the line, a few months, and that's when Becky can win. And you could potentially do that with Bayley too. Now, I wouldn't, because I don't think you want to not change either of the women's championships. I don't think you also have like a crossing of the stream moment. Shout out Ghostbusters. But maybe Seth Rollins could win and Drew McIntyre wins it at the next show. Now, the problem with that one is that Drew McIntyre has tried so many times to beat Seth Rollins and failed. you're really going to be struggling to justify doing it again, unless, of course, CM Punk gets involved and screws over Drew McIntyre. Now, the issue I have with that is, unless there's some kind of miraculous recovery we don't know about, and fingers crossed that would be awesome, I don't think CM Punk is good to go until September. That's not really a program you can hold off for another 6 months. But I think that probably is a plus for WWE's booking, in the sense that I presume all the championships will win, because I think that should be the story into something like WrestleMania, which again is meant to be your big blow-off. But logic just states that we shouldn't do that, because it will be too much, and it will mean each title change means a little bit less. I mean, not the Cody one, because that ties into a whole 12 months of build, etc., etc. But yeah, I think if there are a couple of people who can be the sad chaps on Raw going, oh, I should have won the title and I didn't, and then they go on to do it, that would be totally cool. Now, the other thing I see here is that when I talk to this about people, again, we mentioned maybe CM Punk gets involved with Drew. We know there's going to be a bunch of shenanigans in the Bloodline match, but then people go, well, maybe Liv Morgan screws over Rhea Ripley, and that's how Becky Lynch wins, because, of course, Liv Morgan has told Rhea she's going to do that. She promised to get her revenge. So WWE hasn't been as mad as shenanigans over the last year, maybe year and a half. But this may be a WrestleMania shenanigan central, and if we do that. But I think it's all about execution, and it's all about how it feels at the time. I mean, you are going to annoy some people, because especially at WrestleMania, you want one-on-one clashes. But it's not like they haven't planted the seeds for this. I keep using that term, my new favorite term. Like, it would make sense if a Liv Morgan or a CM Punk or somebody else was there. But you don't want to do that too much either. Again, you can save all of this. We don't have to go totally nuts. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about everything that we are doing. And ultimately, if Cody Rhodes does finish night 2 as champion, which I'm 99.9% he will, well, sometimes people forget about any other flaws that there may have been. And I don't think we finished planning out what the card is, because I think there's probably going to be a stipulation for the Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso match. Maybe Rikishi gets involved. And what the flub is going to happen with Karrion Kross's group and Bobby Lashley? Are we going to do Bobby Lashley versus Karrion Kross? We also have Legado del Fantasma versus the LWO, but we're doing Rey versus Santos on next week's SmackDown. So I don't know, man. Are we doing Andre the Giant Battle Royals? Are Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker going to be a part of the six-pack ladder match challenge? We don't know. There's not a tag team belt that could change hands, right? Most people assume that R-Truth and Miz are going to win it, although I've told you my plan for this, and I will double down on it. You have 2 belts up there. How many are you going to have? One Raw team gets one SmackDown team gets the other. Yes, of course, it's a little bit silly, Billy. I'm not saying that, but WWE have wanted to have brand exclusive tag team championships. We'll go back to that for a while. The Miz and R-Truth can have one, and then, I don't know. I can't even think of a SmackDown team at the moment. Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Why the flub not? I suppose I'll end as well by talking about the other news story that people were chatting about, which is that apparently, we say rumoredly, allegedly, because no one knows, some WWE superstars are a little bit annoyed that The Rock gets to use whatever language he wants, whereas they got emails saying, oh, remember, even on social media, we're a PG company. He's The Rock, man. He's Dwayne Johnson. He can probably go to Netflix. I know they're on Netflix right now, but I bet he has a relationship with them, or the USA Network or Fox, and say, this is what I'm going to do. And even though standards and practices apparently go, well, we'd really rather you didn't, he's Dwayne Johnson. He's The Rock. He is essentially bigger than the WWE. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but he is, in the sense that I've told you this time and time again. My mum knows that I used to watch wrestling, always have watched wrestling. She's still not 100% convinced The Rock and Dwayne Johnson are not two different people, right? It's just the way that people see them. Would it be great if all wrestlers could do this? To a point. I think if everybody starts doing it, you start to water it down a little bit and it's not as effective. But it is unfair. It is unfair, but that's not in wrestling. That's the world. It happens in sports. It happens in entertaining. It happens in movements all the time, right? If you're into football over here, star players get treatment that lesser players don't get, and it sucks. But the best thing you can do is shrug your shoulders and move on. Some people are just getting so mad about this. I'm like, well, you shouldn't just be mad at wrestling. You should be mad about the society we created where hierarchy comes into play. But I'm cool with it. I don't mind. I'd probably be a little bit frustrated too, but it's always best to use that frustration and try and will yourself forward. So Raw, obviously later. We'll do another video tomorrow about that as we do go on. But like I say, I think WWE right now are in a super good place. I think WrestleMania 40 is going to be one for the ages, which is what we want because we all benefit. But of course, I need to know your thoughts. Get back in those comments. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell, ding, ding, notification crew. So we are only a couple of weeks away from WrestleMania 40. That's exciting. I'm going to be there. So if you do see me, come and say hello or just say, you know what you're talking about. It's totally fine. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo, and we talked about pro wrestling tees and Samson Athletics. I think that's all my wares. There may be something else. Look in the description. Find whatever pleases you. Otherwise, take care. Enjoy your week. Enjoy wrestling. See you soon.